boxing enthusiasts with his daring opinion on the imminent bout between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul, claiming the former YouTube celebrity turned fighter is simply too large and strong for Tank to manage. Set for November 14th at the Casa Center in Miami, Florida, and will be a 10-round exhibition. Davis, a dominant figure among boxing's elite for the past 10 years, is venturing into unfamiliar territory by agreeing to battle Paul, who has forged a career blending boxing with showbiz. Though labeled an exhibition, the fight will be judged by 3 ringside officials, giving it a near-professional feel. The weight cap is set at 195 pounds, emphasizing the significant size gap between the two competitors.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You paying me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Davis, a 3-division world champion, renowned for his crushing knockout power at lower weights, last fought Lamont Roach Jr. in March, where judges ruled the bout a majority decision draw. Many felt Roach deserved the victory, potentially handing Davis his first professional defeat. Yet, Davis remained unbeaten. Instead of pursuing a rematch, which many argued was warranted, he opted for an exhibition against Jake Paul, a choice that has upset boxing traditionalists.
Your fight style has been deemed incredibly smart when it comes to ring IQ. You've got knockout power, you're explosive, you are a great counterpuncher. Having said all of these things about you, what kind of fighter would you describe Jake Paul as?
I gotta see. Let me see real quick. What the fuck? Hold up.
YouTube.
I gotta see how he fighting.
This workout's fueled by Celsius, baby.
What type of fighter he is? He decent.
Paul has gradually crafted a boxing career since moving away from YouTube stardom. His latest fight in June saw him face former WBC middleweight champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in Anaheim. Paul, impressed by dominating the bout and securing a unanimous decision victory over the experienced veteran, weighing nearly 200 pounds for that match. Paul proved he could compete against a genuine former world champion. Now, with Davis set to face him in Miami, the question is whether Paul's size advantage will overwhelm Tank. That's precisely the view Terence Crawford, boxing's undisputed super middleweight champion, expressed when asked for his take. Having sparred with Paul and felt his strength firsthand, Crawford believes Paul's youth, size, and power give him the upper hand.
You tattooed your name on your forehead so you wouldn't forget, you dumbass.
That's not my name, dumbass. That's my daughter's name, dumbass. My son's name, dumbass. Again, you got a mohawk. Fucking clown.
James Toney, another 3-division world champion, offered a contrasting perspective. He brushed off the fight as mere entertainment. A longtime critic of Paul's role in boxing, Toney called the bout more of a setup than a true challenge. He doubted its authenticity, but maintained that if it were real, Davis would easily stop Paul. Toney even remarked that Paul couldn't spell the word fight, emphasizing Davis's superior skill. His irritation mirrored the sentiments of many traditional boxing fans who view Paul's rise as a disruption to the sport's integrity.
Bro, now when we talk about weight difference,
you talking about bullshit? You talking about bullshit?
Talk to me. Talk to me, legend, when you seen that.
Look, I saw it, I said, okay. I said, I turned the channel. You know what, I'm not gonna waste my time with it, man.
No.
I'm not about the bullshit. I'm about real shit. I'm not watching. Matter of fact, I don't even want to talk about it. It's not even in my vocabulary. It really is. I love Tank. But Tank get shit together, man. Get real.
You don't like the fact that he's an active fighter doing an exhibition?
Dog, I don't like the fact that he's playing, he's being on a string like a puppet. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what Jake Paul will do. If you don't do a distance, you won't get paid. If you knock me out, you won't get paid. Because Tank gonna knock him out. Jake Paul can't fight. I don't care how big he is. He can't even spell fight. Once again, like I said.
Paulie Malignaggi intensified the critique by comparing Davis's career decisions to those of Floyd Mayweather. He noted that Mayweather, when closely tested, always granted immediate rematches, as seen with Marcos Maidana and Jose Luis Castillo. Davis, however, drew with Roach in a fight many believed he lost, yet chose to face Paul instead of addressing that unresolved bout. Malignaggi argued this shows Davis isn't meeting the standards set by his mentor.
When it comes to Davis, he says in the press conference, what do you say? Just be a fan and watch the fight and enjoy the fight. Enjoy what, bro? You against Uber drivers? I don't want to watch that. You know what I mean? And then you get a guy who gives you a good fight, and you can give him a rematch. You know what I mean? And then you want to be compared to Floyd. Floyd gave instantaneous rematches. You know what I mean? When guys tested him, I don't know, man. It's whatever, bro. What am I doing? It's me complaining gonna make a difference? No, man. We live in a world where people are gonna put up with this anyway. You had a lightweight division full of danger. You had a junior lightweight division when he was there that was stacked with talent too. Guy swerved again. He swerved around them like cones on a racing track. You know what I mean? Oh.
Tony Bellew also chimed in, expressing disbelief at the fight's existence. He labeled it a circus, but conceded that curiosity would draw viewers. Bellew acknowledged Davis's knockout power, suggesting that if he landed cleanly on Paul with smaller gloves, Paul wouldn't survive. Still, he questioned why a fighter of Davis's caliber would face someone closer to cruiserweight size. He said, "I can't wrap my head around this bout. I don't know what sort of circus people will witness, but they'll tune in. And honestly, if Tank lands clean, Paul's done. Tank's got real power. If Jake Paul gets hit by Tank Davis with 8 ounces gloves, he's out." Former champion Sean Porter offered a technical analysis, comparing the scenario to Terence Crawford moving up in weight. However, he noted a critical difference. Crawford's frame suits the extra weight, while Davis's does not. Porter estimated Davis walks around at 145 to 150 pounds in training, making the jump to face someone like Paul comfortable near 200 pounds, nearly impossible. In Porter's view, this size disparity alone makes the fight a mismatch that could reveal Davis's vulnerabilities in unprecedented ways.
Issue for this that I have is you have a legitimate 135-pound champion fighter getting in the ring with a 190-pound guy, whatever it is that Jake Paul is at. So now we already let's really answer this thing. Tank maybe walks around at 150, maybe. We know he's not walking around at 170. We could maybe say 160, but we know without a shadow of a doubt 150, right? In shape, 145, in shape. You know what I mean? So this is different from a Crawford coming up to 168, but we know his walk around weight is probably 170, 180. So going at 168, this thing right here is just all the way different. Yeah. And that's my thing with this one. It's like, this is the one, Jake, that, I get it. You need somebody that's really got some eyeballs on them in order for you to really take this thing serious. But at the same time, you getting in the ring with a borderline midget. You know what I mean?
Is he standing on the stool in this picture?
He borderline midget. You know what I mean?
Not all fighters dismissed Paul's chances. Teofimo Lopez took a balanced stance. While not outright picking Paul to win, he recognized that Paul's size, commitment, and steady progress make him a credible threat. Lopez reminded fans that boxing is unpredictable, and with such a weight disparity, anything could happen.
Can you see Jake Paul knocking out Gervonta Davis?
It's boxing, man. And if it's a show like this, anything goes, anything happens. We expected Mike Tyson to do something, didn't go out that way. Jake Paul's training very hard, so, kudos to both guys. I'm not going to critique them.
Ryan Garcia was far less lenient. He called the fight absurd and said the weight situation was deceptive. Garcia noted that Paul will easily meet the 195-pound limit but likely rehydrate to around 215 pounds on fight night. Davis, however, barely reaches 150 pounds outside training. To Garcia, this bout isn't about skill, it's a publicity stunt. He respected Paul's fights against opponents closer to his size, like Chavez Jr., but felt this matchup crossed a line.
Big Paul versus Tank, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's talking about it. It's a whole thing. A lot of people liked it, didn't like it. Yeah. How did you feel when you first saw that it was a thing?
It pissed me the fuck off, bro.
Yeah, why?
It's just disappointing on mainly Jake's end. We're not falling for the Disney Channel bit no more. We're not falling for you're not a fighter no more. We're not falling for that. You're ranked as a cruiserweight and you're out here trying to fight a lightweight. And then on top of it, you were just talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. That doesn't make no sense. And, I just felt like it was a disgrace to boxing and kind of, it was not a good move by Jake Paul. You know, I understand people saying, you know, Gervonta got to go get his money, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, like, we're not talking about that shit. We're talking about the sport, bro. We're not talking about, oh, you got to get that money, bro. Yeah, but everybody's open to criticism. That's the whole point of this media shit. Right. That's why they talk about basketball players. They don't talk about, well, LeBron's making too much. Like, nobody cares, bro. If LeBron's missing the shot, he's missing the fucking shot. So at the end of the day, bro, I just thought it was a disgrace to the sport. Because on one end, you know, you got the casuals, right? The casuals don't see the weight difference. They see Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. Yeah. And if Gervonta Davis doesn't fuck up Jake Paul, they're going to think Jake Paul is some pound-for-pound champion type of fight.
Mike Perry, who once faced Paul, echoed concerns about the matchup. Having experienced Paul's power firsthand, Perry doubted Davis could handle the same physicality. He noted Davis didn't look sharp against Roach and suggested his drive might be waning. While Paul has much to prove, Perry felt this difference in motivation could favor Paul.
When you fought Floyd, you are massive. You're a massive dude. Floyd's tiny. And I'm sure when you were training, you're like, all right, I'm gonna hit this guy with a couple punches and grab him, tie him up. And he did hit you with a bomb of an overhand right one time, and you ate it. You ate that punch. And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than Floyd, but he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, you know, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up, but I don't hate your brother.
Dana White also weighed in, fueling further debate. He focused on the size difference, questioning whether Davis could effectively close the gap against someone as large as Paul. For White, the fight seemed lopsided from the outset, and he wondered why it was even happening. His remarks reinforced the perception that the event was more spectacle than sport.
Jake is big, Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts. We saw him, I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and, you know, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds.
Tim Bradley offered a unique angle, speculating that Davis might be planning the final stages of his career. Still in his prime, Davis could be chasing lucrative opportunities before retiring. Bradley even floated the idea of a future bout against Manny Pacquiao, a blockbuster matchup that would generate massive global interest. From this perspective, the Paul fight might be a strategic move rather than a defining career choice.
With his kids hanging out, singing Kumbaya songs. That, hey, this is it. One of them right here. I think he gonna have two. This is one. The next one gonna be Manny Pacquiao, I think. And then I think that's when he gonna get up and he gonna say, bye boxing, thank you so much. Yep. And guess what? They gonna be, 2 years from now, they gonna be saying, Tank Davis. Do you know who this is? Yeah. This is the Hall of Fame. Yep. Tank Davis getting in the Hall of Fame. I don't give a damn what anybody.
Nate Diaz, who fought Paul in 2023, admitted the matchup was hard to evaluate. He respected Davis's skills, but couldn't ignore the stark size difference. Diaz stayed neutral, noting how odd the fight felt compared to typical boxing matchups.
I gotta ask you, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. Does Davis have a chance?
No. Gervonta is a great boxer, but he ain't gonna be.
So you got Jake Paul by knockout, or?
No, I don't got anybody, but I don't think.
He's just too small.
It's just. I don't want to beat up somebody that small. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
What do you think of the fight?
I don't want to lose to somebody that. There's no point in the fight. It's a great fight, actually.
You think
I'm not hating on the fight, but I think. My thoughts on it is let's watch and see what happens.
Ryan Garcia said that boxing's turning into WWE.
Yeah,
with that type of matchup. What do you agree? Last thing, White House card, like he said, you want Conor McGregor.
Yeah, but the whole thing's at WWE. So it's like, at least that's happening and getting something to talk about, something to watch. And I'm looking forward to that fight.
Eddie Hearn was perhaps the most perplexed. He recalled past discussions of Paul fighting Anthony Joshua, which would have at least pitted two similarly sized fighters. Instead, Paul is facing a much smaller opponent, and Hearn couldn't fathom what Davis hoped to achieve. With many legitimate challenges in his own division, Hearn viewed this as a risky detour that could damage Davis's long-term legacy.
Big news, Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul. Not a real fight, an exhibition fight, November the 15th.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting going from heavyweight to lightweight very quickly. You know, we knew that Jake would potentially take a fight this side of the year. I think I was the first one to say about 3 or 4 months ago that fight was agreed between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. I wasn't expecting it to be announced today. But it is what it is. I'm not, you know, I've had a lot of media asking me my opinion of it today. It is what it is. I think on one side you have to understand the business of it. I hate these exhibitions. I hate these 14-ounce gloves. I don't know what it's going to be, but like, you know, you've got Jake, who's a 210, 220 pounder fighting a 135 pounder. Bit weird, but at the same time, you know, I can't be a hypocrite and say, if you're Gervonta Davis and you're being offered 20, 30, 40 million, whatever the number is, and you're getting 7 or 8 to fight Lamont Roach in a 50-50, what are you going to do? I mean, maybe the kid's half checked out of the game anyway, you know? So, I think as long as we kind of established it's not boxing, and it's just this entertainment thing, then I get it. But, you know, I think it probably, a lot of people are saying, you know, do you still want to fight him? Anthony. It's like,
yeah,
we never really wanted to fight him. We were never really looking for the fight. We were approached about the fight, and we would have said yes. Whether they actually ever wanted to fight him or whether it was just, you know, for a bit of clout. But if he did want to fight, probably does change things a little bit now because, you know, if he gets beat up by Gervonta or, I don't know, like, I just don't know what's going to happen. But that's the freakiness of it. So I can't really knock it, but it's just not really for me.
The fight has split the boxing community like few others. For some, it's a bizarre spectacle that disrespects the sport's traditions. For others, it's an intriguing experiment that could end with a stunning upset or another. Explosive knockout from Tank. On November 14th, when the bell rings in Miami, fans will discover if Paul's size and strength are truly too much for Davis, or if Tank's skill and explosiveness can defy the odds. Until then, the build-up continues to spark debate, controversy, and curiosity, ensuring the event will captivate audiences worldwide, whatever the outcome.